You're listening to Casual Alterations, a podcast by and for fans of Altered TCG. Here's your hosts, Kari and Ian.
Yeah, it's The Simpsons. Yeah.
That was still in my head.
I think if you didn't catch that one, it's just because Kari wasn't loud enough.
Should I do it again just in case I wasn't loud enough?
No, I think this is good to start off with.
Okay.
Welcome. Bienvenue.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my line. I apologize. I don't have my cue cards with me today. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Casual Alterations, the most underproduced, most guest-casty podcast about TCG.
Because nobody else ever has guests.
Yeah, okay. Well, how would you describe it?
I don't know. Since you're doing my parts, I'm doing your parts. What is your next thing? Oh, yes. Thank you, and come join the Patreon and watch us on the YouTubes and do all those wonderful things to thank us for coming on. We like to thank our third most important person in the world, not in any specific order, but Nate has joined us at the Patreon level. We're seeming like we're getting closer and closer to France now.
Yeah, so you too could be a supporter of us on our Patreon, like Blue and Eric and now Nate.
Yep.
If you followed us at casualalterations.patreon.com. And
this month, or this set, you're actually getting the Halua playmat, and also you end up with a Woollyback token and an Aerolith token. The Aerolith token looks beautiful. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but look on Make Playing Cards. It's out there.
Oh, I have seen it.
Do you like it? Is it good? Would you pay money for it?
I do like it, and in fact, I have paid money for it to be printed and shipped to me so I can give it to our Patreon supporters. Today on our episode, we have a guest.
We do.
Hello, everybody.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Dan. I played Magic for years with these two, and now have been playing Altered for probably near on a year.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Having a good time with it.
The whole point of today's podcast is to talk about a question that came up in one of our feeds, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, that we just haven't touched yet. How do you build a community of Altered players? And now we're going to put this out there that we may not have been 100% successful here in Fargo-Moorhead, but we're working towards it.
Yeah, not yet.
No, so it's always a work in progress. But we think we've got some ideas for you to help get the game going, and we'd like to share them. And that's what Dan's here, because he's bringing in the community part. Hey, Dan, you do something else, though, for Altered. The blog?
Oh, yeah. Kari has got me now doing some writing on the Altered TCG blog as well. Going to be covering a lot of this stuff for competitive. And specifically, I'm kind of a numbers and database guy, so I'm doing a lot of stuff looking at how the arena seasons are working and kind of shaking out.
So tell us a little bit about Arena, because I don't think a lot of people know there's a button there that you can play more competitively on BGA.
You can go out, there's tournaments or just free play, but then also there is a ladder system called the Arena that it's not unique to Altered. Almost any of the large BGA games you can play on the Arena, but what it allows you to do is go out and play competitively in a ranked mode against players who are serious about kind of trying to ladder up and the like. What's nicest about it is that it uses an ELO system similar to chess, so that to the best of its ability, it is ranking you against other players who have sort of a similar level of success at the game. So you're more likely to get sort of a consistent game experience. It also means you're going to be facing some tremendously good players on a regular basis, because there's a lot of folks who are out on Arena that are really good players. I have limited success when I'm out there a lot of times, but I enjoy it a lot. And it is nice that you go out there, you're going to be facing tier decks and people who are not necessarily just playing the casual kind of game. So
it's not quite our crowd, but
no,
it is definitely some games I've played on there where I've been humbled.
Yeah, and I like it because it lets you see how you fare against other people who have decided to go out and see if they can move the ladder. And I did make Elite last year, or last season. I think it's nice because if you played like Magic Arena's ladder and the like, it takes a lot longer. you can make the elite relatively easy if you just got a good deck and take a little bit of time.
So yeah, that sounds like something that a lot of people should look at, especially as you're looking for more competitive play. You might only have a few people neighbors in your neighborhood that are actually as strong as you or in that same thing. And the ladder actually does help pair you with people that you are at the same level with. So you'll get to meet some new players as well. So it's a great thing to have out there.
And in theory, I assume that if you had a new deck that you wanted to test against the competitive decks, that would be the place you want to do it. I wouldn't know because I've never played in the arena.
The only time you'd really want to do that is if you're just at a new level. Because one of the nice things is every time there's 6 different ranks. When you get to a new rank, you can't go down below it during that season. So what I do is usually if I get to a new rank, then I'll take out all my jank decks or whatever things I want to try and test them for a little while. But then after that, if you really want to test long term, you're better off going into play mode and just having fun testing them out and the like. Because your ELO gets punished if you lose too many games messing around.
Hey, your ELO can't be punished if it starts at 0. It
That
stays
is-
there all season.
That is correct. That is the pro play. Is just never let it get high enough that you have to worry about it.
All right, well, let's start with our topic today. We're going to just break this down into kind of the steps that you need to take to try to build your community and make everything good. And I think the first thing you want to do is target who you want to bring into your community. Obviously, there's 3 main types of people, and I think one group gets totally ignored here. It's the art people, the people who love lore. You have a lot of people who read books, read stories about fantasy situations, or especially looking for those people who are into the steampunk area. I think those individuals will love Altered if they just get the right buy-in. And you really have to focus on those individuals by telling them a little bit about the lore. So you're going to have to do a little research. Listen to Hero's Guide to Asgartha. Listen to other podcasts that do share a little bit about the lore. There's a great set of videos about the heroes, but also if you just read the synopsises on the Altered website that talk about the timeline, the global timeline, there's now 3 parts of it that are out there. There's the first summary covers from the confluence all the way up to 393 in the AC, which again, if you don't know this, just go look for it. Look for the global timeline. There's also 2 additional parts that are catch-up parts that you can cover the last few months that have happened. So just get a little knowledge about that and tell them the story of Altered, because it is a great way, I think, to get people pulled in.
That's what will attract your lore fiends and your artists.
Yep, absolutely. And then the second type of people that you're going to get to run into, I think that you also should look for, are people that love board games. This is a card game that is played on a board, and those individuals are going to find this game as challenging as some of those other board games. But the great thing about it is that these games are short. There are a few people who love those 3-hour, 4-hour knockdown dragon board games, but I think you'll find there are individuals that really would like a shorter version of a game on occasion. This is a game that you could play in the same amount of time that it would take you to play some of those smaller versions of board games that are very quick. And I think those individuals will love the tactics and the strategy that are involved in this game, because it is full of a lot of choices that you have to make that definitely impact the way the game goes.
Yeah, I can't think of a lot of board games that you can sit down and play in 20 minutes.
Also, when you're talking about the board game angle, the fact that it's got kind of that Dixit connection is something that we love Dixit as a family, and a lot of the folks who would get into that would be people who do love sort of that quirky art and everything.
Oh, and Mysterium also.
Yep.
Yep.
So the fact there's other board games that kind of track into it as well, you can use those as a way to kind of get people interested.
Yeah, and if they like that art in those games, they're going to love the art in this game too. Obviously, the easiest people to probably try to convince to play the game are the other TCG players. Now, we could go into all of the negatives about other TCGs and why this game is better, in my opinion. But instead, just try to sell them on the good stuff. Tell them about the fact that cards that you own, You can own digitally, you own them on paper, they're yours. You do not have to pay extra for additional things. I know you might get hit with that NFT thing. Just remind them, you are buying the cards. You have that card in your hand. That's a wonderful thing. Plus, this game does not have some of the negativity of some of the other card games. Specifically, there's no mana screwing in this game because you're making your own choices. You're screwing yourself over if you make a mistake.
If you get mana screwed, you only have yourself to blame.
Absolutely. The deck building is very simple to do. There's lots of great sites out there. 39 Cards is a good example of places where if you don't like deck building, just go dig out a hero from that site and you can make it easy for yourself. So one of the things that this game has that no other card game has is a unique card. And that is what's going to make this game much more complex for those individuals who love the TCGs. That is a selling point that no other card game has. One card exists in all of the world. You got it. And you can find more if you look online or if you go to the marketplace, print your own cards from there. These are great advantages to this game. This game is not going away. The game is solid in France. In some places in the United States, it is very solid as well. It will take time for us to build these communities that we need to build. That's why we're doing the podcast, to tell you how to do that. Be aware, there is no reason for them to quit the game because it is selling blockbusters in France. And that is what's going to keep this game around. So you've got...
Sorry. Go ahead.
We don't just have...
I'm getting an entirely new view of this podcast, by the way, having the ability to sit here and watch it.
Yeah, there's a lot of
the making of the sausage is just as ugly as you'd expect. I hate to tell you.
So you get people, you recognize who you want to come to this game, be it the family, friends, or people that just hang out the game store that you know. Now you got to have like a demo days. How do you decide when those are going to be?
Yeah, so the thing about doing a demo for Altered is you have to meet the players where they are. They're not going to come to you because they don't know that they need this in their life. You can't make Altered the event to get them to come. You have to find an event and bring Altered to it. You have a game day at your local game store, set up a table, have a big sign, pictures that are inviting, and say, hey, ask us about Altered. We will proselytize to you about Altered. You can learn about this thing that we love. Or go to a convention and set up a table there. Again, you need some kind of bright, colorful signage that's going to get people's interest so they stop and ask you, what are you doing? And you can tell them about Altered then and get them to sit down and play. If you happen to know somebody who makes custom accessories like tokens or playmats, you could have them set up on your table and then people could ask you questions about them. That's a very specific type of person. Not everybody has that person in their house like I do. It's me. I'm that person. Once they're sitting at your table, you have to introduce a game to them in a way that hooks them. So usually the first thing I would do with a roadshow is ask the people if they've ever played another TCG, so that I have a basis of conversation. So that when I'm explaining the game to them, I can point out things like, if you played Magic before, you need to know a permanent is a very specific type of card in this game. Whereas in Magic, a permanent is anything that you play that stays around, right? And a spell is a very specific type of card in this game. Whereas in Magic, any card you play out of your hand is a spell. So you need to have that sort of comparison, right? Try to keep your demos short and sweet, because nobody has 45 minutes to sit around and learn how to play this game. You try to teach them how to play the game, the basics of it in a few minutes, and then you let them play so that they can learn it as they go. When I would run demos, I had a set of cards that I would have my players put out in order so that I could explain all of the features of the game to them in a single round before I would let them. You've set up your demos at some event where people are there and you get them to sit down and play. Then what? They love the game, right? So you need to send them away with something so they remember how much they love it. With the roadshows, it was a promo card. But that's not enough. You can't take a promo card and play the game with that. I feel like if you want people to keep coming back, you need to give them a deck. At least that was what I thought. Dan, you had an idea that was better.
One of the reasons I've been thinking a lot about this, because you guys have been talking about, building things in Fargo. And to me, it really is all about community. And even that idea of, if you've got a friend that you want to introduce it to, you need to have 2 decks and a track and some basic stuff to be able to do anything. So I think if you're going to give somebody something, building some cheap, almost like pauper decks, things that are commons or have a few cheap rares in them or whatever, and send people away with 2 decks. If they looked interested enough that they played through the whole playthrough and they seem promising, send them with something where they can then go back, find one of their friends, explain this game to them, and then maybe be able to play it. And hope that then you get 2 people to come back. Because, yeah, if somebody's just, I've been to a ton of Gen Cons and things like this. You go there, you play a game, and then you put it in your bag, whatever they give you, and you never do anything else with it. But I've had a few where I've bought like a starter kit or whatever where there's 2 decks. I'm more likely to actually play that because now I've got something I can do with it when I get home.
Yeah, and the community is the important part. You can't just give a deck or 2 to someone and expect that to grow your game, right? You have to make them want to join you. You don't just give them the decks. You give them a way to find you. You have to have a local community built that they can go to with their questions. I know some people who have demoed the games in other cities have had like a business card that they give out to people with a QR code to their local Discord for people to join. I know someone who had a postcard made up that listed the schedules when they played their events on a regular basis. Here's how to find us. Here's when to come and play with us. You have to have some way to communicate with people, or else they learn this game and go home and then they're lost to you forever. You need to figure out how to bring them back. So when you teach them the game, hey, we play every week on Wednesday at 7 o'clock at this game store or whatever.
We use Discord, but there's other options for you out there. You can use WhatsApp. I know that's a big thing in Europe, but you want to have some kind of regular texting discussions going on to keep this stuff in the front of their minds, right?
Yeah, whether it's a Facebook group or a Discord or a WhatsApp. I understand that's what the kids are using these days. I don't have that one myself, but I've heard that's more popular in Europe. Just whatever it takes so that you can tell people when there's special events coming up so that they know to be there.
You got the people, you're communicating with them. How do you finish building that well-rounded community, Dan?
First off, most of this, essentially, I've learned, if anything, from watching you guys over the last couple of years or a few years with Magic in the store that we play at, because for a long time you've been sort of a bedrock of that community, and it's that consistency, that now for the last year or so you've been going to the same places at the same time and you're there, and so people can come to the store and they know there's going to be somebody there to play. And I think that is obviously the basis of anything, is just that sort of making sure that people know that there's something that's there that is consistent and that's going to last. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's obviously something that's tough to do with a new game, especially when you're running into situations where maybe some of the stores aren't seeing a lot of action and the like, so they're not necessarily supporting it as gung-ho as they might have been before. Altered, in my opinion, also, you can talk about some of the things they do to work with the game stores and the like, but really, this is a game that I think we as players are going to have to do a lot of the community building, because there's not as much of a financial incentive for the stores to build around Altered as there might be over some of the other games. So, I like, though, the idea that you partner with the stores and show them about print on demand, use their print on demand sort of ability to do things and the like. You get the store up and running and give them at least some incentives. And that's about finding ways to make sure that pre-release happens and that the tumults happen, so there's events. And then outside of that, I just think it really is just that promoting things, being there, welcoming people when they come in, curating kind of a group of people who are all enjoying it. I really believe that, especially in sort of the modern world, there are a lot of people out there looking for a way to connect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're there and you're welcoming, and you're like, hey, come and hang out with us for a while. Put down your cell phone and play some games. We're going to be here. We're going to remember your name. We're going to have fun. they're going to come back. And I don't know that it's the game that brings them back. It's the community, it's the people, it's the experience.
I think that's an excellent point. Really, as much as we love Altered as a game, the thing that got us the most excited was the community that we met in Gen Con when we were learning to play this game for the first time in public, I guess, right? When we got to Gen Con, people were excited about the game, and that made us even more excited than we already were, which made us want to keep playing it, right? We had gone to Gen Con with intentions of playing other things. We did not play anything else. After the first day, we played Magic because there were no Altered events available for us to play in. We played Magic because it was what we knew. The very first time we sat down to play Altered, we were 100% in. We didn't step away from those tables the rest of the weekend. Right?
Absolutely. We even skipped one of our Magic events to play Altered, just play the starter decks, which, even at that point, we were like, starter decks, boring. Yep. But still, we wanted to be bored with all the people that we were having fun with.
But it wasn't boring. That event was so much more fun than I expected it to be. We thought, starter decks are just starter decks, whatever. But the way that they had set it up, it was exciting and fun, right? There were interesting prizes. They had set it up in a way that there was actually a stake in who won. People were playing as a team. It was great.
Yeah.
And when you guys talk about this, and I can see you just sort of shining at the memory, keep in mind that none of this has anything to do with gameplay. None of this has to do with technical, like, oh man, I won this game, or I was able to do this crazy cool thing with a card. It's all about interactions with people. It's about that feeling you got while you were playing the game. And really, that's what I think, when it comes down to it, is the thing that's going to make or break a gaming community, is finding people who like to hang out with each other and can have fun playing this game. And at that point, Altered's the game you like. It's the thing that becomes the center. But it's the people that are the actual binding core. Yeah. You can replace the game if you keep the people. People would probably still have fun. But if you keep the game and lose a bunch of the people, fun goes away.
Yep.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Altered is a game where I think finding a way to make sure that there is a win-win with the stores is something that's going to be important and difficult.
Yeah.
Because, with the print on demand, with the game found selling directly to the players and everything else, it is something where stores can still make money, selling other products, selling candy and stuff like this and the like, but they're not going to make the kind of revenue that they're maybe used to making off a board game or off a card game. So you got to find a different way of doing that. I don't know how easy it's going to be to sell Altered singles, simply because of the fact you can't tell whether the thing's been scanned or not until you scan it, right?
Right, and then once you've done that,
then it's
it's yours.
So every time you check to see if something's scanned, yes it is, because if it wasn't before, now it is. And so it's a weird market. And so finding a way to make it so that, because you need a store, you need a place, a public place to meet.
Yeah, and
well, what's that going to be?
And as much as Magic has been, the growth of Magic as one TCG that everybody uses as an example, the growth of Magic is involved in commander play and kitchen table play, and the fact that when you go to the store, you're not seeing a lot of women, but supposedly 40% of the players are women. There is games going on elsewhere, and Altered is trying to touch that area, trying to get those casual games to play. And what we're just encouraging you to do is take the time, bring them to the store as well, because those casual events are going to keep you playing the game, but you got to get more people in order to keep the game being successful.
Yeah, and you need to know your community too. Once you get people involved and they come and start playing, figure out how they connect best with the game, right? It might not be constructed. Constructed is the most common way to play the game now because it's what everybody knows. But there's other ways to play. You could be playing multiplayer. You could be drafting. You could be playing sealed. You could be playing no uniques. right? You could be playing commons only. You just need
all
to
these
find.
things we hope that to show up on BGA soon. Come
Yeah.
on, Regis, get them going.
Yeah, we're waiting.
That would be very cool. And that,
Yeah.
but that is going to be interesting to see if you can get the people out of the kitchen table and to the store. It is interesting because getting the cards, getting the rares you need to build physical decks, does require people to get together a little bit more. There's a lot of rares out there in Altered, and so getting the ones you want, you do have to do some trading. It's easier if you just play digital, but if you want to play physical and you want certain cards, you're going to have to find somebody who has them.
Yeah, and it helps if you have a community of people that can work together, trading cards to make sure that everybody can get the cards they need that they didn't get in their boxes.
Yep.
Or if you want to print, if you can all pool together and print through your store instead of trying to order individual PODs.
Yep.
Or a game found as well, right? If you can get
Yeah.
that store to buy a case for you, that brings the store in. So don't just consider, I'm going to hit go on the game found. This is a big thing. Look for your stores to help you out on these things too.
Yep.
And that's pretty much going to be it for this week. This will be a quick and easy one. We'll get out here as soon as possible. We'd like to thank Dan for joining us tonight to discuss this wonderful topic. Thank you for the suggestion, and
Looking forward to playing more games of Altered.
Yeah. And again, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I think this is the part where I say something like, hey, remember to like our podcast and share it wherever it is that you find it. And perhaps you'd like to support us on Patreon. If you did, that would be great. It's certainly not a requirement. But if you can at least follow us on the Blue Sky. That's 100% free.
And we'd like to thank all the people, too, that watched the Woollyback short that Kari created for the Woollyback token. Remember, you can get that on Make Playing Cards. You can also get that for being a Patreon member. Just get out there, and thank you very much for taking a look at that and enjoying the puffy backs.
That was awesome.
No, I call them the Woolly Puff Girls, I think is what I named those tokens.
All right, well, thank you, and have a great rest of your week. Talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been Casual Alterations Podcast. For more information, please visit us at casualalterations.wordpress.com.